Okay, first of all, before we start, I just, on behalf of Herbie, Thorpe, Price Town Pigeon Supplies, I'd just welcome Mark and his wife along here today, and Mark's going to give us a chat about the different mixes that Natural Grains have produced and are available here at Price Town Pigeon Supplies. So I'm going to hand over to Mark to run through what they do, how the system works, and then we'll have a wee session of questions for you.
Perfect. Okay.
So over to you, Mark.
All right. Thank you, Sid. So I'm going to explain first the importance of the analysis of a mixture. If you see, there are three main things which are very important in the analysis. It are the fats, the crude fats, the crude carbs, and the crude proteins. Beside of that, you have still crude fiber, but that's not so important. It's very easy to maintain the thing, to maintain the following thing. A pigeon's metabolism is based on fat. So to get energy, the pigeon it needs fat. In the country, for human beings, we need sugars to have energy. So that's a big difference. So it is very important to see first on short distance, for instance, what pigeons need. So first, the condition of the pigeon, the muscles needs to be built fine, so which you can do with proteins, not too many, because in short distance it has been scientifically proven that they just need the first hour of a race, first hour and a half, carbs, and then afterwards they go on to fats. So the risk is if you feed for short races your pigeons with too many protein carriers, they will become too slow. How you can check it is also very easy. If you are feeding too many proteins and you take the feathers a little bit away to check the breasts, you will see the color should be pinkish red and a little bit dust. If it is dry and a little bit of dust on the chest, it's perfect pinkish red. If it is too dark or blue, dark blue, it means that you are feeding too many proteins. That's a good system to check if you are feeding right or not. Of course, I know here islands, you need to follow a program, and you have to build up from going from sprint to middle distance to long distance, even channel races. Then it becomes more and more important to increase in proteins, but also in carbs. And in fats, of course. Because what is important? Long distance pigeons, they need to stock their fat, their energy, which you are feeding, for instance, with safflower or rich in fat feeds, between the muscles. That's the reserve they have. They have to take it with them. So first, then you need to create a good body by feeding proteins. Proteins, if you feed them, it's also, if you feed a lot of proteins, it's very important your pigeons are training also good. If you are scared to have to feed too many proteins, you let them train something extra and you will see everything comes normal again. Yes. So to keep in mind, on sprint you need carbs and fats, not too many proteins. The farther you go to mid-distance, long distance, you need to increase with mixtures which are maintaining fats, carbs, but also proteins. The proteins should be fed in the beginning of the week, because at the end of the week feeding proteins has no sense. Then it's already too late. What we did now, especially, we created something extra because you can't give enough fuel with your pigeons. It's a trick to get all the fats into the pigeons, because if they are really full stomach, they don't like the big grains anymore and they don't eat anymore. So we created now a very rich in fat mix, which is the wizard mix. Here, the new wizard mix, which is as you can see a mix containing very small seeds with a lot of hemp seed. And hemp seed, it's mainly a supplier of fats, but it boosts also your pigeons. This mixture has been tested for some time now, And also on the continent, because on the continent they are not used with this mixture yet, because we didn't launch it yet. But I tested it with some fanciers, and they had all the same impression. The first week they were saying to me, my impression is when the pigeons come home, they are looking better, they are not so tired. I said, that can be a coincidence. Let me know next week, in 2 weeks, and we will see. But the results stayed the same. Every time the pigeons were coming home, they were seeing the same thing. When they were in the hands, they were feeling still in a good condition. So it is very important in the racing season, if you raise the pigeons, not to feed them, that they are not going into a dip, but try to avoid the dip as much as possible, and try to keep the level of condition on a higher level. And that's what the result is by feeding this mix, which is containing a lot of sunflower hearts, a lot of safflower, small seeds, millet, because pigeons, their preference of eating is going from big round to small round. So the bigger the grains in the seed, the later in the week, they are not going to eat it anymore. So fat, once again, it's the main fuel supplier for pigeons. So I can show you here, for instance, a type of mixture, the professional mix, which is a mix. I will show the racing mixers a little bit from the super spring. Maybe I can show you the difference. If you check these mixtures, you can see straight away the difference. This is a heavy mix. What you see is it's containing more peas, more maize. Also, I know fanciers, they like the peanuts, also the pigeons, they get keen on it. And that's a very good mix. Also the mung beans, which are quite important. And that's a good mix for long distance. If you see the sprint mix, you will see straight away, visually, that it's containing less peas, also less maize, but more safflower. That's especially also because on that short 1 hour and a half race, they need the fats and a little bit of sugars. That's the main difference. So then, what? This one here. This is the Wizard Supreme Red Mix. This has been created also because if you compare it with this one, on this mix, for instance, this should be also good for sprinting mixers, because you see it's containing some maize, it's containing also some paddy rice, a lot of fats, and not too many protein carriers. But that's only this, and also the toasted soybeans, which is very important. The toasted soybeans today, if they are treated well and heated for a short time up to a high temperature, it is the best supplier in proteins and fats. It contains both of them. So also the pigeons, they like to eat it because it's round and not too big. The red maize, I can say, and honestly, all the types of maize, nutrition-wise, they are more or less the same. There is no big difference between red maize, orange maize, Argentinian maize, whatever, because at the end it can vary it maybe 1% or a little bit more or less, but at the end it's always in the same on the same level. So this has to do with the matter of people, they like to see the color or the bright mix. But nutritional wise, with one exception, if the maize is dried, so dry it in the oven, then it is not nutritional wise so good as a maize which has been dried on the field in a natural way by the air which is going through the maize. So are there any questions?
Yes, some of the guys are very interested to know the amount of this to feed.
Mm-hmm.
Is it fed ad lib? Whereas what I heard guys, sometimes they feed with a spoon individually. What would the recommendation be for that?
With this system, and also you can feed as much as you want. So that makes it easy, because if you need to go on the loft with a spoon and each widower to give him 3 grams or 5 grams, it's difficult. It takes time. Some people, they prefer to do it and they feel well with it, but we created this thing to make it easier for the fancier, not to think and also about all the mixtures. All the mixtures are there to make a choice. The main thing is that you are feeling well with the mixture and the pigeons are eating well and you are racing well with it. But you don't need to make it too complicated. I am sure you can cover a full season with maybe maximum 3 mixtures. It's just a matter how you put the balance, how you change a little bit. If there are hard conditions, okay, then the mix needs to be a little bit heavier, but it's all the time the same. What you never may forget is to foresee at the end there are fat suppliers, and that can be an energy mix, for instance, but preferably I see now with this new mixture and the tests that we have been done by the hemp seed which is there in that mix in a high rate, the results are better. These mixtures are already for a lot of time on the market, and this is now something we tested as new thing also with the sunflower hearts, and we see other results.
With young bird racing just about to start here now,
yeah,
is it just the same for young birds as old birds, or would, bearing in mind young birds are still growing and developing, and protein would be important for young birds?
Then I can recommend this mix. Look, and you can see it easily. I was just telling that these are fat and protein suppliers. First thing, you see the high rate of mung beans, which is also helping to grow a little bit of hemp. So this is fat, but it's also maintaining. Also here, if you see the dun peas, so here are more protein carriers. If you see, here is almost no protein. There is protein, but not in a high, very low. This is high rated, and this is especially also for the hens and the young birds. This is a perfect mix for them. All hens, all the time. So, and also if you want to supply them with more fats, then it's a combination of main food, and afterwards you can feed this.
2 hours?
2 hours, yes.
Yeah. With traditional widowhood system, as we would understand it, a few years ago we would have been told that when the birds come home from the race that we would break them down. They have what they call a depurative mixture.
No.
That's gone now.
It's gone. It's gone. Believe me. It's in all type of sports. Everybody wants to get to a higher level.
Yes.
It's the same with athletes. So you're always looking to do better. So, and systems can be good in the past. But today you see everything has changed. Also with athletes, with sport, and that's the same with pigeons. Pigeons is also a sport. So it's very important, you see, and how to improve, even if you are a good champion, to improve even, and that difference is always in small elements.
So looking at those mix, I don't see any barley. Is there wheat and barley in those mixes?
No, we prefer, there is some barley, but we are not, we don't prefer to use too much barley, because barley it's like nothing. It's crude fiber. It brings to a pigeon nothing. It's just a filler of the stomach. When we want to replace a barley, we prefer to replace it by paddy rice. Paddy rice has 2 big advantages in comparison with barley. Barley is cheap, I know that, but you can eat as much as you want, but at the end it brings nothing nutrition-wise. It's just crude fiber. Paddy rice, it's a chain of vitamin B. That's one thing, which is very important. Also, for instance, in warm weather conditions, if you give the pigeons a lot of paddy rice and then they drink, the paddy rice absorbs easily also, and it maintains the moistening and the humidity into the body.
In a couple of months' time, our birds will be breaking into their annual molt.
Yes.
And what would your recommendation be as a feed then? Bearing in mind that the new feathers being replenished and whatnot.
The principle is very simple. What fanciers do, they mix all together what they have left from the racing season and they feed it. What I would recommend is to try to foresee for the pigeons as many possible varieties of ingredients. I mean fats, carbohydrates, because at that moment, in the molting period, the formation of the feather, it's also a very tough period for the pigeons. So they need rest, but they need also good varied food. It means small seeds, also carbs, also proteins, because the formation of the of the feathers, and also the I don't know what to say, not the feather on itself, but the pen.
Yes.
The pen, yes.
Well.
So it needs amino acids for the formation, calcium as fats, because if there is a lacking, then you will see the formation of the feathers will not be good. If you, the more fats you can give them in that period, you will see the feathers will be also very shiny, and they will feel very soft, silky soft, and that's very important.
Could I ask the product there, brewer's yeast? What brewer's yeast there?
Yeah, brewer's yeast.
When would we need to use brewer's yeast on this, or not? Do we not need to use it?
It's a good supply of brewer's yeast, and of course the brewer's yeast we are bringing on the market is coming from a brewery from Germany, because it's a higher quality standard of brewer's yeast. What is the difference? Brewer's yeast, it's vitamin B, and vitamin B plays a very important role also in the nerve system and also in everything that needs to develop. And that's also important. So you have, in one way, you have the vitamins, in the other way you need also the amino acids. To give you an idea, an explanation, this NATURAL, it's a combination of liquid calcium and amino acids. So if you give that to pigeons together with proteins, the intake, what they get out of the protein suppliers, will increase with 10-15%. So they will grow faster. We did a test with that same product, and that has nothing to do with pigeons, but with a parrot breeder. He had 20 pairs, 10 pairs of African greys with and 10 without. So what he said, there was always a problem with also the chest bone. It can happen also with pigeons, and the paws which are not in the good. That means a lack in calcium. So this is also why it is liquid, because liquid will be very fast in the blood circuit. If you do it with powder, it will take much longer before you will have the same result. So this calcium amino acids. This one, the Nutri powder, you all must know Nutri Power. Yes. So Nutri Power, it's based. I will explain to you. It's based on the type of the baby milk. So it's very rich in the acids, but also in carbs and also in some proteins. And in the Nutri Power, this product is 100% pure. If we need to put it in the pellets, it has a special treatment, and it lowers the activity of the product. So we leave it. Nutri Power is very easy to feed because it's a type of extruded diet. This is the powder form. But here you're sure it's 100% the product. For making a pellet, we need a carrier to bring it all together. Maybe you will put me the question why it is so expensive. Honestly, we need to send all these things. There is only one company in Germany who can do that. And of course, if they are in a monopoly, what they do is every year they say, okay, but we increase prices now. So it has nothing to do with the product on itself, but it has to do with the manipulation they have to do. That's why we decided to say, okay, we will leave the choice to the fanciers. If they want still to go on with the pellets, okay, but this is a similar product in powder form. Last but not least, maybe something about the Natural line. Natural line is for many years on the market. People say it's cheap. Can it be efficient? We can assure you it still is. Unfortunately, we see on the market similar products which are triple price or even more with the same ingredients. What is the main activity of this product is to keep the acid, the pH level in the crop of the pigeons stable. So the advantage is if you can keep it stable, there is less danger for let us say infections or viruses. We tested also this product together with the cure against trichomoniasis, and we see also that if you continue to give it, that the time the trichomoniasis comes back, it's much longer. For during young bird disease, what you always also can do, and we did it also by testing it, is to get this bottle. You put 20 grams of electrolyte inside it. You shake it. You take 5 ml in a syringe, and then you put it with the youngster in the beak, in the crop, for about 2 consecutive days. And in that time, they should recover already, and then they can start to drink independently again from the drinker. It's very important to, in that time, during the period of young bird disease, to triple the doses, the recommended doses. So instead of 5 milliliter per liter water, you put 15 ml per liter water. If you see this bottle, 1 liter, it's 1000 ml. So it's good for a lot of liters of water. So it's a good product. It's efficient. Of course, sometimes my impression is it is not expensive enough. The fancier they don't believe anymore, it can be efficient, unfortunately. So then, this is a disinfectant, Natura drops. It's based on chlorhexidine, which is also used for us if you have a sore throat, to disinfect, to rinse the So that's the active stuff which is in it, and that's good to disinfect the eyes. Sometimes it happens with bad weather conditions that the eyes are a little bit infected. So it's also always good to drop in the nostrils, even in the nostrils and in the eyes. That's the Natura drops.
Before we move on to that,
yes,
and we can tie that in with the next question.
Mm-hmm.
During our chat last night, we spoke about the importance of animal protein and vegetable protein.
Yeah, very important.
We just mentioned egg food there. Correct. So somebody must have been reading my mind and brought it in. So could you?
So what is the egg food is also popular now in pigeon sport. What is the purpose of egg food? Proteins and carbs. So what's happening? What is containing egg food? What makes the difference? There are a lot of brands today on the market with egg food. Sometimes I see only breadcrumb. They pretend it's an egg food, but it's not really an egg food. Other brands, it are good brands, whatever, good products, but they use protein powder. So these are vegetable powders, because there is no company who was using egg powder. You can also use animal proteins as an egg powder. This egg food, what is on the market today, it's based like every egg food it's a crumble of bread, some pastries coming from the bakeries. But the difference with this egg food is that there is also a part of fresh baked cake inside. The fresh baked cake is has been baked with yellow egg yolks. Egg yolk is an animal protein. So then you can say maybe, but is there a risk for salmonella? Because it's a fresh egg? No, because during the process of baking the cake, it's so high heated that there is no risk. There is no risk. Because if you should say, okay, I have the egg yolk crude, not treated, then you have a problem. But once it went to an oven and heated up, there is no problem anymore for any problems with salmonella. So maybe I can tell you a short story. A good friend of mine in Belgium, he had a problem for many years that his champions, he was racing well, they were eating their own droppings. And he said, I can understand. I went to the vet and he said to me, try this, try that, and do this. Nothing helps. Every time they started to eat their own droppings. You can imagine if pigeons eat their own droppings, that there can be a risk of being infected. So I told him, I said, listen, there is nothing to risk. Try it. Try to feed it, because he was not believing in egg food at all. And I told him, I said, if you see the birds, what are they doing? They're looking all the time. They know themselves what they need to have the right nutritional value. He did it for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks afterwards. It was finished. He went to the vet, and the vet was also very skeptic about the egg food. Now today, that same vet is also feeding the egg food. So it's just always to see, you don't take any risk, you just need to feed them, and also we are speaking about carbs. This is full of carbs, it's enriched with honey. What I want you to let's see is that this is a nice crumb, so a pigeon will eat it easily. The finer the structure is, the more difficult, because then it's like with the powder you need to mix on the food. When I do this, you see, it's like moving. This is how the birds and pigeons are attracted. When something is in the top and it's still moving, pick it up, and once they get the taste and they get used to it, you will see. I know fanciers.
It's hard to get them on it, but to get them started on it.
No, it's not difficult. For sure not. No.
No.
The thing is always, if I give you the best thing, for instance, you like a cake, but you had already a good food. Are you still able to eat the cake? No, because you're full. So what I will do to let you to learn to eat this, I will give you less before, and then I give you it, and you will eat it. I'm sure. If you're hungry, you start to eat. That's how it should go with pigeons. It has nothing to do that it is bad, that pigeons don't like. If they are not used to it in the beginning, they need to learn it to get it used to eat it.
Is that used for breeding or
this is mainly for breeding, but you can also, as it is a high protein carrier, and you remember when I said to you for the tough races, the moment you need extra proteins and also the animal proteins, then you can give all the time also this as an extra. Not in big volumes. Yeah. Or you can mix it with the corn and you have also the smell, you know, it's sweet. It's like the honey you smell. So pigeons also. I know fanciers, if they come on the loft with this, all the pigeons they follow the fancier all the time. So and it's proven also that as it is a good supplier of proteins, also the intake, it's very easy to digest as it is a crumble. In a pea, it needs to go to the digestion system, so it takes longer before they get out the proteins they need. And it's also a little bit fat. If you put the hand in, you will feel it's a little bit fatty also.
Okay.
Other question?
Dave, anything?
Where's this channel mix here?
The channel mix, it should be it should be the heavy mix.
One, yeah.
Yeah, the professional one, yes. No problem.
Should the peanuts in it?
Yes.
How long will they last in this?
Normally, if you and that's very important also, if you are keeping the food, the mixtures dry, dark, and not too warm. So I mean with not too warm, beyond 22 degrees. Normally there will be no problem for months, 2-3 months easily.
So that'll be the lifespan on that.
Yeah. So the main risk with peanuts is if there is humidity in the environment. Then they start to sweat and the fat is coming out. Then you create an environment for getting the mold on. But as long as you maintain the 3 elements, dark, dry, and on a certain level, there is no problem. No problem. It's always good to put the food not on the floor, but on a pallet or whatever. Yes. So for plastic, also there, take into consideration when it is too warm. Plastic is plastic. So if things starts to sweat, don't forget to open time by time the barrel, that the air can come in, that it starts not to sweat and the humidity drops not again back on the mixtures.
But we never gone over 18 degrees anyway.
That's good. That's not a problem. That's not a problem then. Any other question?
Can you put that oil on all the food?
Yeah, no problem. It's a garlic oil, so it's a fat. It's a fat supplier. The garlic. It's purifying the blood circuit. But it's good to paste to let paste powder together with the food. Whatever it is, the powder. It can be brewer's yeast. It can be this. You can also do that. No problem at all. No problem at all. No.
With using oils now, it would concern me a wee bit that once oils are opened up, that if they sit, would the oil go rank, and maybe if somebody puts oil on the grain that has gone off.
No. So if you put all on the food, I always recommend minimum to wait 15 minutes, 20 minutes before feeding it, or you can even put it for a night away and let it dry. That's no problem. The main danger is always the temperature with oil and fat. If you put fat on a food and you put it in an area where it is 20-25 degrees, that's not a good condition to maintain the oil. For the rest, the only thing you need to do with oil is close the cover very well, and then there is no problem.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I hopper feed. Feeds are all the time. Well, they're all the time before pigeon comes away from it, and it's too good. It's not.
That it is too good.
They're getting as much as they want.
Yes.
With the oil, if it's still on the food, put back in the bucket, and put back out that again.
I would not recommend that.
Yeah, I haven't done the money harm.
Yeah,
No,
you
it's got away
can
with
do
it.
it.
Probably got away
You can
with
do it, but I'm not going to advise it in general,
No.
because sometimes people, you know how to handle it,
Yeah.
but maybe some other people, they said, yeah, but you told me it could stay
No,
there
yeah.
for a long time, and
No,
now
no,
I
no,
have
no.
problems.
No, that-
So with
You want it to 3-4 hours.
fat and oil, be careful with that. And it,
Careful.
always when it is in winter time, there is no problem, but it's for sure in the summertime when it is getting warmer, then it can be risky. Any other question?
The beneficiaries of this.
It's an all-in-one. So it is calcium. It is also, you can see the pink mineral. It's containing also the brewer's yeast. There is a little bit of egg food inside, not too many, but the purpose was before, years ago, everybody was mixing his own grit. They took one part of pink minerals, one part of brewer's yeast, one part of this, they mixed it, and then they had their own mix. So what we did, we have put everything in one bag, which is also calcium supplier. The pink minerals are also very efficient, because it are also minerals, but also vitamins. It's enriched with vitamins. So it are pure natural products.
How many days a week would be recommended to using this?
Every day, small tub, fill it up. They will eat if they want, but don't forget to refresh it. To refresh it every 2 days. So I prefer all the time to give less and often. Yeah. Because what is happening, and you know, pink minerals are also a type of salts. Minerals are salts. What's happening when there is humidity? It will get humidity out of the air, and then it is not. And that's why we advise to refresh it every two days. So, but this is a complete mineral mix. Yeah.
Okay, Mark, part 2 of our conversation. Could you run through the importance Nature place on when they're purchasing their grains, on the quality and standard they set?
I will explain to you a little bit the system and the procedure we maintain to accept the corn coming from different origin and countries. First thing what is very important is to receive the grains in good condition. It means, so with shipments, the farther you go away from your country, the more you need to be, it has to be shipped. So by shipping grains and corn, there is a higher risk of damaging the germ of the straits. Secondly, and for sure with maize and so on, and also the humidity within the ships and unloading and loading. So that's why we decided, and there was a time a lot of people, they were keen on the red maize, the plate maize, which was also coming from Argentina. But the problem there was the quality was right from the country of origin, but due to the transport, the quality when it arrived in the port was not so good, because it had been damaged, the humidity and so on, loaded, unloaded. And that's why step by step we skipped using the red maize, plate maize, as it was before. There was also, of course, an influence of prices. The farther away you get to import straits from, the higher the transport costs, which is logic. That's why we decided to go and to see, with the experience we had with the French farmers for the maize, the French maize, to try to convince them to put some other types of varieties of maize. And what is very important in the quality-wise, it's where the grains are coming from, depending of the weather conditions. Every type of grain needs another type of weather situation, condition. Is the soil, is it good? Is it right? Is the temperature right? Is there enough humidity? And so on. There you make already a difference. You can also have maize coming from Poland, for instance, but that quality is not the same the maize which is coming from France. Another advantage with these ingredients is the transport time. If we need maize, it only takes 8 hours because the farmers, they have everything stocked in the silos. It's going on a truck. 8 hours later, it arrives at our factory. What happens then? When the trucks arrive, we start to take samples. Of course, farmers, they also like to do business. So what they do, they put the best quality on top of the truck, and then sometimes they try to put a little bit inferior, not following the sample they showed us. But what we do when the truck arrives, we take a sample at the surface of the beginning of the truck, and then we go in the middle, a little bit deeper, and at the end of the truck to the bottom. And these 3 samples, we test them in a small, I call it a mobile laboratory, and that gives us straight away the humidity and the quality, what it is containing. So if it is not following our quality level, we refuse the truck. So the problem is then, of course, for the supplier that he needs to find another customer, and then they start to offer with discount this maize to other colleagues. Sometimes they accept, or sometimes they said we don't accept. But that's not our problem anymore. That's how it goes. How we check first the grains when they arrive at the premises. Then the second stage is they get a pre-cleaning. So the guy who is responsible for the production department, he is himself a fancier. He's very strict. I can imagine sometimes he's maybe too strict, but it doesn't bother us because it's better that he's too strict than too easy. And he sees straight away when it is okay or not okay. So when we take the goods in, they have a pre-cleaning system and then they go into the silo. Our silos, they are completely closed in a closed circuit, so nothing can be involved anymore, but it's because everything is going to the circuit into different tubes. And then if we produce the mixtures, it is coming in a weight bunker, a weight silo, which is followed up and checked by a software data system. So the operator is just looking to a screen on the computer and seeing that the procedure is going well. So from that moment, when all the percentages are right in that weighting bunker, they start to mix it, but at the same time we clean also the grains by blowing air into that bunker in the drum, and then at the same time we have an aspirator system which get out the dust. When that opens, when that's finished, then it's going to a second cleaning procedure, and that's based on brushes. So all the grains, they go over the brushes, and that's why they start to shine. If you take, for instance, not cleaned straights in your hand and you do like this, you will see afterwards they start to shine, the dust will disappear. Some other companies, in general, they prefer to spray with some fat. Why? Fat is pasting the dust against the straight. The risk there is when it is too warm, the fat will start to get off the maize or the other products, and is a good basic to get the mold. So and during the procedure we try to do from each, as we are GMP certified, we have to take a sample from each production. It doesn't mean that mistakes can happen. I'm not pretending today that everything is 100% perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. But what we try to do, if there is a problem, we can always trace and go back and see, based on the samples, what happens, based on the expiry date and the lot number, and we can come back and tell you, okay, the problem there is, it's correct, there was a mistake from the staff member, and we take our responsibility for that. That's how we work today.
Do you natural produce a pellet?
No.
A pigeon pellet?
No.
Why not?
I will put it in the other way. Does pigeons find pellets in nature? Are there any pellets in the nature?
Probably not.
So it's a matter of what you prefer. Of course, it's something to bring new. You know, a pellet. It's based on dog food, extruded diet. They tried it. They brought it on the market also for parrots and all these things. But at the end, pigeons, they are grain and seed eaters. So and you can supply them with all the things they need without a pellet. But if you prefer a pellet, who are we to tell people it's not good?
Yeah.
It can be good, but we don't use
No, I'm
pellets.
just thinking about
Can be dangerous also. Yes.
Yes. The thing is today that we have two types.
How much will you beef it up?
You have two types of pellets. You have an extruded diet. I don't know you know the procedure of an extruded diet. You bring in a type of, I call it a pastry, which has been mixed with everything, and then it goes with pressure into a certain closed area, and then they put here a high pressure, and here there is under pressure. So what's happening? The product is coming in, so they push it really through the system that you get the pellets. And of course, during that procedure, there is used a lot of steam with a high temperature. So there is not the risk. But with an extruded diet, if you see it so very very tight, you see all small holes in it. Small. So what happens? These are the positions where bacteria and viruses they can go into. Secondly, the other type of pellet is pressed. It's not extruded. It's not an extrusion. It's pressed. So you have the same pastry, but they push it through, and then you see the pellets coming out. The problem there is the form. Pigeons, they not really like. Otherwise, in the pellet, they are very hard. And that's also a reason why the intake by pigeons of pellets is not so easy.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yeah, I understand.
That's the reason. But you will never hear me say, no, it's not good. So it depends on the fancier what he wants to do. But I just can tell you what the difference is between...
No, I'm just thinking of the guy who's maybe not up to speed as far as nutrition, carbohydrates. You know, he would like to walk into a shop and say, everything's in that pellet. I don't need to think.
No,
You know,
no,
just-
the mixes, no.
And there are fanciers about like that. Who would have...
It will never be. It can be complete, but the problem is, like I said, it's against nature of pigeons and birds.
A lot of them have fish in it. Pigeons don't eat fish.
It's an idea to put everything in and then they say but there is no selection possible. But you need to keep the birds also busy in nature-wise. Also with birds and pigeons, they try to find in nature variety. Why are they going to fields? Why are they going to find things in the soil? This has to do with the nature. So you need to try to stick with the natural behaviors of the pigeons or birds or whatever.
On the price of pigeon corn, do you see prices continually rising, or will that be decided upon by the farmers?
I'm afraid yes, but I will tell you why. What can be the reason, or what is the reason? First, today, as we had, it's now improving slightly, but as we had a very bad economical worldwide situation, a lot of big groups, financial groups, they didn't invest their money anymore in the business, in the industry, but they started to buy the crops. Why? Because they knew people, they need food. Animals, they need food. So what they did, before it came on the market, these crops, they traded it between 5 of these groups already, so they've made all of them the money, and then step by step they throw small quantities on the market. So it's very simple. If there is a big ask and there is only a few quantity, prices are going up. So it has not only to do with the price of the farmers, because the farmers are in some cases the victim of the general situation. That's one thing. Secondly, you need to take also into consideration taxes. If we produce, we pay taxes. Of course, these taxes need to be paid by somebody. It's with every product like this. It's not only corn, it's also with other products. Wages. All these things, they make the price. So if you take all that together, and you see what's happening now, everything is getting dearer. Also the food in general, if you see 10 years ago and now, I said the prices for our food, it went up not for the pigeons, but I mean in general, it went up with 20-30% between 2000 and 2016. So, and this is the way how they play the game today. And of course, as we have high expectations for quality of grains, we can't offer all the big volumes the food industry can offer to make the spaghetti or whatever. So if you go and try to make a contract with a farmer or a group of farmers, yeah, we have expectations, and then I said, yes, but my rentability, I want that rentability per hectare. So, and you come here with this variety, I will lose money, so you need to pay more to cover that. So that's the way how it goes. So it has nothing to do with the fact that we say, oh nice, now it's time we are going to increase prices. Nothing at all. Nothing. It is all influenced by all different, also maybe even the bags, the paper bags. Our suppliers of paper bags, once of a sudden they became a very big wall group, and they said once of a sudden, okay, bags, we increase prices with 10%. What do I have to do? We need to, everybody is doing that. So that's the reason.
So it'll be all passed on to the fancier anyway.
Not the fancier on itself,
No.
I would say the consumer. You are also a consumer.
Yeah.
So all the other goods, it's the same situation. So
it
has nothing purely to do with the corn, it is in general a situation.
Well, today we have fanciers from the south of Ireland and we've fanciers from the north of Ireland here. And we can't finish off without mentioning Brexit. So do you think, if this all goes through and the north of Ireland leave the EEC and the guys, the south, they stay in the EEC, how do you deal with that situation? Or you obviously are exporting to countries which are non-EEC.
Of course, a lot.
And do you find that, say you'd be exporting to England or Northern Ireland, would we in the north of Ireland be
Paying more.
It depends. It depends. When they decided to start with import taxes, which I don't expect really. I still believe in I call it a soft Brexit, because we need each other. It's very simple. You join the forces. If you think you are individually strong enough to go into the world economy, you're wrong. You always need partnerships. So I hope the gentlemen politicians, they will be so clever to find a solution in favor of everybody. Because if it starts again, that all the regulations, the customs, all these things, that costs money. So what will happen? It will increase prices. But I don't expect, and I hope really, that it will not happen.